I served as the president of the league in 2002, 2003. And so being able to network with other elected officials, and they change quickly. About a third of that organization every 4 years becomes new. It's a never-ending resource of new ideas coupled with senior best practiced ideas. The Utah League of Cities and Towns is invaluable to communities. 250 plus cities and towns across this great state. 95% of them benefit at least once a year from some advice that the league's given out. When I was the president of the league, I watched that happen. As a member of the league for 22 years, I've enjoyed that benefit on my part.
Without the league, we would just be a bunch of Indians with no tribe. I mean, it's really, the league gives you the opportunity to be trained, to have a resource that helps to advocate the needs of municipalities at the legislature in a singular voice. So I think the league does a phenomenal job.
I think it's very important. I have gone to the meetings both in Salt Lake and down in St. George. Very, very helpful. Understanding, you know, the financial end and the water problems, just all kinds of things. That's been really, really helpful to me.
Yes, I think it's important that our elected officials attend the Utah League of Cities and Towns, and because there's many things, and there's not much there they give that I haven't heard, but it reminds me. And that's important because we as individuals are often forgetful of what we've learned or haven't implemented it. So it's always a good reminder to attend those meetings and to be refreshed.
We've always been a member of the Utah League, and they've always been very good. They've always been very supportive. We've enjoyed going down to the conferences. We usually have a pretty good, I usually try to make them. Most of the council tries to as well. Whether it's the mid-year conference in Salt Lake or the one down in St. George, it's always a good, there's always good information there. And I encourage that. You know, I try to get our people out there because there is so much good that comes of it. And people say, oh, you're spending this much on a hotel or you're spending this much to go. But, you know, all it takes is one bad decision by the council or by me that costs the city thousands or tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if it costs a little bit of money to get that training, that's money well spent, because you just never know. You know, everybody, you know, myself, the council, everybody, we all have other jobs. We're all doing other things. And so we're not professional mayors, we're not professional city council members, and so any bit of information that we can glean, especially off Utah League or whether it's Rural Water Association or some of these other associations that we belong to, that's money well spent.
One of the favorite things that I see that we get together for is either the activities that we come to in St. George once a year, or when we come to Salt Lake for the semi and the annual conferences. And I think the reason that is a great opportunity for us that the league provides is because we can rub shoulders with people from all across the state, kind of get to know some of the obstacles and the challenges that they're facing, compare notes. Even the vendors that are there, they can show things that they've been doing in other communities that might be helpful to us. But just the knowledge and the understanding that you get from that kind of event is really a significant benefit. I'll say there's one other really big benefit, and that is when the league puts on this convention, they bring in some really unique folks to speak to us. For example, David Church, we've brought him up and actually talked to some of our staff here in the city. When we have unique challenges, having that kind of backing with that expertise, that legal advice, just gives you some confidence that you're not just left alone. But and the league is really the ones that are kind of helping bring those folks in so that we get exposed to them, and provides that opportunity for us.
I do know about it, and it has been of great benefit to me. Cameron, who's the new leader, really helped me form a youth council, and then youth councils change as time change. And when I'd get kind of discouraged or something, I'd call him. I've loved the fall training sessions, And what that did too was bring a lot of us together. I didn't have the opportunity to talk to people in my same position from other places unless I attended those. And the training when I was first elected, I thought was extremely good because I had no idea of what to do. It was like, bingo, you won.
The Utah League of Cities and Towns is probably the greatest organization in the state as far as I'm concerned. They've helped with legislation. They're good friends. You've got a problem, you can take it to them. They deal with it, and it's just been a fantastic organization. And I would recommend, you know, I mean, I hope my predecessor comes into office and says, you know, this is a great organization to belong to, and you got to get engaged. And great people. We meet colleagues. We share experiences and little laughter here and there, and what's going on in the different communities. So, yeah, it's a great organization. Couldn't live without it, as far as I'm concerned.
Great.
The Utah League of Cities and Towns gives all of us an opportunity to work together, to share together, and to learn from each other. It's not easy being a mayor. You don't go home every night patting yourself on the back. You need to serve people. The Utah League of Cities and Towns allows us a platform, us being mayors and elected officials, to work together for the common good. It has educational programs. It has all kinds of books and training for newly elected officials and so on. It's really the core that allows us all to say, oh, I understand the basics. Now I can go out and do my job. But if I have trouble, I can call in for help. And it's very, very important. Being a mayor, being a council member, being on a planning commission, these are all kind of life and death things in a community. If you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you can't do or what you should do, you're not going to be very successful. So you've got a small community. The mayor only goes in 1 day a week, and the city recorder goes in 2 half days. They have to do as much with their community as Salt Lake City does. We have to make sure they have all the things they need, just like Salt Lake City does. So we learn from each other. We learn where there could be problems and how to solve them. But if you're all on your own and you've never heard of this or understand what the law is, you're in trouble. The Utah League of Cities and Towns is the heart of every community in the state of Utah, because they can tell you what, they can tell you why, they can tell you when, they can tell you how.
The Utah League of Cities and Towns is very important, especially in our area here as a small community. It gives us a stronger voice as a town that we can have relationships with legislatures, and they also support us. They're also very important in the fact that they look at legislative issues and policies that are being made and the effect that they will have on local communities, as opposed to realistic maybe as much on the financial implications and really the logistical challenges that these will, that decisions have, and also to give us a stronger voice. I mean, when you have a group like the Utah League of Cities and Towns, they can represent the needs and challenges that maybe the smaller communities wouldn't have the voice to be able to get heard. And I think that's much of anything. It gives the smaller communities and a way to be heard.